when you look at the year 2023, very, very different than 2022. I thought 2022, at the end of that year, AEW is extremely strong. The momentum and the buzz seem to be behind AEW. 2023, definitely a different year for them. A lot of ups and downs in 2023. It's been a rocky year for Tony Khan and AEW. But, Bully, I think you would agree that this last month, especially the last 2 to 3 weeks, has been very, very strong for AEW. And I think last night was an example of that, Bully.
I've enjoyed the past 2 weeks of AEW television. We talked about it during the week. It seems like the WWE is going left and AEW is going right, which is a good idea for AEW. They are a very professional wrestling heavy product right now with some storylines peppered in. Last night, I thought there was a great balance of Continental Classic, along with the two major storylines going on within AEW right now. Obviously, the MJF and the Who's the Devil storyline. Also, we had the match between Christian and Adam Copeland, and that storyline's been going on. So, enjoyable shows. I'm liking the Continental Classic more than I thought I would. It has a more upbeat feel to it than the G1. I always found, I'll probably catch flack for this, but who gives a damn? I always found the preliminary matches in the G1 to be a bit underwhelming, boring, so if you will. And then obviously when we get to the semifinals and the finals, it really kicks up. I'm not bored by any of these matches. Like last night with Mox and Roosh. Just on the entrances alone, I was like, oh my God, these guys are going to beat the crap out of each other. Roosh is a bad mother trucker, Dave.
Yes.
That dude is tough, and he will give it as good as he takes it. He lays his shit in, and like he is there. And, Moxley is Moxley. So just a match like that, I was very intrigued by. I enjoyed it. A little bit of wonkiness in with the outside stuff. I'm sure we're going to talk about that a little bit, especially since we've put a lot of credibility on the refereeing and the rules during this Continental Classic tournament. Last night, it seems they threw it out the window a little bit, but like the matches last night, really, really strong.
Well, a couple of things. You just talked about the G1, and you know me, boy. I'm a fan of New Japan. I love the G1. Obviously, we both love Wrestle Kingdom. But what they've been able to do, especially early on, now it didn't happen last night, but that's okay. But like in the first week of the tournament, we saw some shocks, we saw some surprises, we saw some upsets. That's always going to grab you as a viewer to get you in. What do we love about the NCAA tournament? Right, is when a 16 seed upsets a number 1 seed. When that happens, it's a big deal, and you get some of those upsets early on. And what does that do? That gets you to buy in and gets you excited. They were able to do it with the Continental Classic tournament so far. Now, last night, kind of predictable finishes, but so what? You got great matches. You got really good matches. And you mentioned Moxley and Roosh. Roosh, to me, is maybe one of the most underrated wrestlers in AEW. Guy could do it. The guy's got a great look, great size. I mean, he's so quick. I mean, he's somebody that I feel like one of the few wrestlers that I think he would be a star in any company. Like, I don't think he would have to do too much to change. I think he would be a star anywhere he went. And Moxley, like you said, is Moxley. You almost take Moxley for granted at this point. I think they've done a really good job of hooking you. So even if you're somebody that is tuning into AEW for the first time and is not a big quote-unquote wrestling guy, you like more of the sports entertainment, I think there's been enough of a hook in this tournament to grab you as a viewer.
They've grabbed me. They've grabbed my interest. I'm now into the tournament. I want to see who wins this. back to Roosh for a second, I like how he takes his entrance and he changes it up a bit. We're used to seeing guys and gals coming in the ring and then facing the hard camera directly. Roosh comes in and he looks the other way. He looks across from the ramp first. So you're able to get a different shot, and then he turns his head and looks into the hard camera. Then he goes up to the turnbuckle. Little things like that impress me. Little things that I see most wrestlers take for granted. You know, it's just my entrance. I walk in the ring, I face the hard camera, I get my beauty shot, yada, yada. He took it and he just put a little bit of a different spin on it and stuff like that. He looks so good in his gear. Dude, he looks like a raging bull when he's coming to the ring and when he's out there. It looks like he's impervious to pain. They started off with that chop exchange, and Roosh got the better of Moxley, and they threw Moxley Moxley went to the floor, and Moxley was sitting in a chair at ringside. Did you see how red Moxley's chest was right off the bat? My God. I mean, they were laying into each other. So it was a fun fight. It was a fun match. Not sure about the finish, but we'll get into it.
We'll get to that for a second, but you just brought something up and you just reminded me of something I wanted to mention to you when I was watching that match last night. One of the things that have kind of driven me crazy about Moxley lately is the non-sell. And a lot of Moxley's matches, he doesn't really sell. That wasn't the case last night. Roosh makes you sell. Like, when you're in the ring with Roosh, you can tell this guy is hitting you, and you know what? You're going to sell. And I noticed that Moxley did a lot more selling in his match last night against Roosh.
If Roosh wanted to, he could beat the shit out of Moxley. I'm taking Roosh in a shoot fight.
You know what? So would I.
I'm telling you, from personal knowledge of the two, I'm taking Roosh in a street fight, a straight up, mano a mano, if you will, fight. The guy is, I'm telling you, he's thick, he hits hard, and yeah. And one of my mantras is, if you don't want to sell, I'll make you sell. And one good live round will make you sell. And there were a lot of live rounds right off the bat last night.
Yes. And I don't even know if it's something that's intentional by Moxley. You would know better than me when it comes to that. Like, I don't think it's intentional. But if you're going to sell me on the offense and you're going to sell me on your opponent, there's got to be selling. And he did that last night against Roosh. Whether it was intentional or not, I saw a lot more selling from Moxley. And it was a little bit more of a different match. Definitely very, very physical.